Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew, and welcome to Baldur's Gate 3. I'll go ahead and provide you a bit more feedback as to what we're doing here in just a minute. Who are we indeed? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, my name is Andrew. Welcome to my channel and welcome to Baldur's Gate 3. Today is going to be an interesting day. I don't normally play RPG titles on the YouTube channel. I do play them on occasion on the Twitch channel. In fact, I actually have another Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough that I'm doing on my Twitch channel. That's done on Saturday nights at 10 p.m. CST. So, if you want to tune into those live streams, go ahead and head over to my Twitch channel. Link is in the description. But as for this playthrough, what is it that we are doing here? Well, we've got a little bit of a problem first and foremost. Who are we? And I've kind of been dabbling about this. I've actually done a couple test recordings as well, just to see what I can do with each of the different playthroughs. And admittedly, I'm going to be doing something that I frankly have not done yet. This is going to be a first for me. But we're going to be playing one of the origin characters, specifically the Dark Urge. Now, if you're not familiar with what the Dark Urge is, here's the little introduction for the Dark Urge.
My rancid blood whispers to me, kill, kill, and kill again. My ruined body yearns to reap death in this world, and when this foul urge calls, it possesses my whole being. Injured beyond repair, I know nothing besides this. I must resist the dark urge, lest it consume my mind. I must discover who I was and what happened to me before my twitching knife hand writes a tragedy in blood.
Quite the tale, isn't it? You definitely don't see a lot of people talking about how difficult the Dark Urge playthrough actually is. But in fact, it's actually not a difficult playthrough to do. The only difficult part about it is dealing with the racial inequality in the game. And I'll get into that as we continue on. There's also some specific dialogue that is unique to the Dark Urge that we'll end up being able to see throughout the campaign, or at least throughout the playthrough of the game. Now, the initial character of the Dark Urge, of course, is a white dragonborn. We can change the subrace for the dragonborn as we so choose to, but the game is really intended to see that the Dark Urge is played as a dragonborn. It does not state that you have to stay as a white dragonborn, and it does not state that you need to stay as a storm sorcerer of the sorcery class. So you can change what class you're associated to while playing the Dark Urge. With this in mind, I am first going to be changing the subrace that we're going to have. The Dark Urge is really something that emanates to me as something to do with the idea about death and the whole resisting of the death aspect. And I kind of got an idea of how I want to play that route. We're going to be playing as the Black Dragonborn. Just because Black Dragonborns are typically associated, as of their breath weapon gun dictates, having an acid breath, dealing 2d6 acid damage. And they're really good about being able to resist acid damage as well. Playing as a White Dragonborn, we could get that Frost Breath, which would go ahead and, of course, dealing that cold damage, but we only get that resistance to frost. It's not going to be beneficial to us, at least not during during Act 1 of the game. During Act 1, there's going to be plenty of different sequences where we're going to have to deal with some acid-based encounters. So having that resistance as a Black Dragonborn to go and have that draconic resistance to acid damage will be quite beneficial. As for the class, we are going to change this up. Now, a lot of people have speculated what classes the Dark Urge is best suited for. The game itself thinks that the Sorcerer class is best suited for the Dark Urge. Not necessarily. It definitely is a good suit, depending on how you'd want to play as the character, but in actuality, it's better that you go and have a bit more of a defensive-based character while playing the Dark Urge. And that is where I'm going to be switching the race, or the class at least, to Paladin. Paladins are really strong naturally. Of course, we got that strength modifier and that charisma bonus. The charisma is our spellcasting modifier, which is quite beneficial. We'll get Lay on Hands and Divine Sense, which will have advantage on attack rolls against Celestials, Fiends, and Undead, which will be quite useful during the tutorial on the actual Nautiloid, and during some parts of Act 1, which we'll get into later on. As for the subclass, we are going to change this to the Oath of Vengeance. Oath of Vengeance gives us the Inquisitor's Might, which allows us to deal an additional 2 radiant damage whenever we or an ally's weapon attack deals an go ahead and succeeds on an attack, and it can cause the enemy to be dazed for 1 turn, which can be quite beneficial. The subclass feature does give us the tenets, which paladins abide by following tenets: fight the greater evil, exerting your wisdom, identifying the higher morality in any given instance, and fight for it. This right here will allow us to have a few extra dialogue options in the game as well. We're going to stick with the background being the haunted one. We're not going to change this up because this is going to be quite beneficial for us. A wicked moment, person or thing cannot be slain by sword or spell, haunts your mind and flickers in your peripheral vision. You carry it wherever you adventure takes you, or perhaps it carries you. We do get the skills of medicine and intimidation from this. So, real quick, we're going to take a look at our ability scores. Our ability scores are generally pretty good. We're not necessarily too worried here. I am, though, going to lower our strength score by 1, so that way we can put the remaining 2 points into intelligence. Just so that way we are not suffering a -1 modifier to any of our stats. We're going to check our proficiencies here, and we don't necessarily got a lot to go and play around with. But what we can do is we can at least change up which ones we want to have our proficiency with. Athletics, I wouldn't say I want to focus on too much, so we can change that up. We can, however, change this to be either religion or insight. Pretty good, right? I'm going to change this to be insight instead. We're still going to have a pretty good coverage when it comes to our skills, so I think that should be fine. We could change also our persuasion, which has a +2 naturally, over to religion, which actually might be more beneficial now that I think about it. And that should be all. We still get a couple different +1 bonuses, but that should be fine. we'll go ahead and confirm that. And we're going to go ahead and quickly change our appearance. I'm going to skip this part just so that way you guys aren't having to sit around for it. And I will check back with you guys once when we go ahead and get back into the Nautiloid. Now that we've escaped the Gith, it is time for us to deal with the perils of hell. I gotta say, I love that introductory cutscene of right after character creation. You go through attacking Baldur's Gate, then you go through the whole fight sequence with the Gith and the actual Mind Flayer ship, and then of course the Mind Flayer uses the teleportation of the ship to teleport one to the Frostfell, which is the actual place that we end up transporting to the first time around, and then two, we transport to actually the nine hells.
The
in
blood
other
in
words,
your head thrums and pounds. That pounding blood obscures who you are. An overwhelming loss of memory. How you ended up amidst these hellish flames is just as hidden. You have nothing in your skull, besides your name and a headache. But you are in danger.
See, this is the hidden dialogue that I was talking about. When you're playing the Dark Urge, there's some hidden dialogue that you get, not only at the beginning of the playthrough, but also as you continue to play throughout the game. Now, admittedly, I haven't done much with the Dark Urge. I've played through the entire Nautiloid and the beginning part of Act 1. Admittedly, this was when I was playing on Honored mode, which unfortunately I ended up getting killed in the first encounter of Act 1. So, not necessarily the greatest, but we're not playing on Honor mode, thankfully. But we are going to go ahead and talk about every single thing that goes on with Dark Urge. You guys can kind of see that I had decorated my character quite a bit. The Dark Urge normally doesn't have the coloration in the eyes as my character does, but I changed it up specifically because I felt like having yellow eyes with a black dragonborn just made more sense rather than red eyes, for example. Although, speaking of red eyes, that does remind me of a dragon-based design that I was planning to use for a D&D campaign, but to each their own, and maybe that will be a surprise for later on. My D&D players, if you're watching this, ignore that line. Either way, we gotta figure out, curse whoever did this to you, say your name aloud, you have a part of yourself, or take a deep breath, shake your head, and start anew.
Time to get out of here. And then you can shed light on the dark of the matter of yourself.
That is true. We can go ahead and explore to our heart's content. And there are a few things that we are going to want to do right at the get-go. We're going to go ahead... We're going to... Yeah, where the hells are we? We're actually in hell. So, let's go ahead and come up here onto this ledge. One, we get these ruined slates, which don't really have much value to us.
Don't mind if I do.
We do got an onyx right here, which we can sell later on. But we also got this chest over here.
Please.
Has 10 gold for us. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Let's make our way back down and let's go interact with the nursery. We also got a dead mind flare that's right there. We got another chest that's up here, which we'll take a look at. We got a restoration chamber over here in case we need it. I don't think we will. But, cutscene.
This is the pool that thing came from. The parasite now writhing behind your eye.
That's right, we did end up having a mind flare parasite go into our brain, which is not fun to be dealing with. We can investigate this pool, see what it's meant for, and this is where our first skill check comes into play, investigation. This has a difficulty class of 10, so we have to roll either a 10 or higher. We don't have any bonuses from our investigation, so there's that. But we can just roll for a flat d20. And fortunately, Lady Luck is on our side. Because we succeed.
The casing is fragile. The slightest touch could cause it to crumble.
Very vague in terms of input right there, but essentially if we were to go and touch the nursery, or at least reach towards the pool, it will explode and deal some damage to us. So we're going to go and leave it behind and continue on our way. If we go ahead and take a look at this dead mind flare, it does have a jade. Now this is always different in every single playthrough. It's not always going to be the same exact item that's on this mind flare. Sometimes it will have a jade, sometimes it will have an onyx. There's always going to be some type of gem that is inside, that is on this body. We got really lucky here because we were able to get a jade, which is worth more valuable than something like an onyx. So we can end up selling that later on. We'll go and take that. Now let's go to this other chest that's over here. This other chest could be quite useful because it actually has some stuff in it. We get a agate, which does go ahead and sell for 20 gold. And we also get 10 gold. Not too bad. That does have the chance of just being gold in there, which would be an equal value, so to speak. And there's nothing else up here on this upper ledge, if I'm not mistaken. So we can just continue forward and go through this sphincter. We're going to walk towards it, and we don't have the need to take a look at anything else, so we should be fine. Let's go into this next room. This next room is going to be quite indifferent from what we just came in. Let's go take a look at this goblin corpse over here that's on the table. This goblin corpse does have some gold on it.
Images of goblins, their habits and histories flash into your mind.
Some of these runes will be more beneficial for us to go ahead and examine rather than others. Some won't have anything on them.
The Nautiloid flashes into your mind. Nerves, sinews, as much living being as ship.
Okay. I believe the rest of these runes that are over here don't have anything of value. At least not at this spot. This brain jar, though, doesn't really have anything of value to it, so we'll leave that alone. This cerebral aquarium, that's fine. We don't need to worry about that. The Eldritch tablet that's over here might be beneficial for us to look at.
1,000 years of humanoid history, elves, dwarves, humans, and more flash behind your eyes.
That's good to know. Apparently, doesn't really provide us much to go off of, but at least enough for us to understand that there's more that we don't know about this place. If we use this neural apparatus, we can go up to the second level of this room. And we get to meet something called Us. Quite the interesting creature, in my opinion. This can really go one of a few different ways, to be honest.
Yes, you've come to save us from this place. From this place you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
Please. Before they return! They return.
We can definitely go ahead and interpret a few things about this brain, you could say. But let's go and ask, who are we talking to? A man or a brain?
A newborn. Born new from this husk.
You know no creature like this. One that is more brain than person.
A little bit unfortunate on our part. We don't end up getting much more about this. We could interpret it saying, well, why do you sound afraid? Why?
Enemy. So many enemies.
How do you know I'm not an enemy, though? I suppose I can give it a shot. I think, though, that you're past the point of saving. What to do? Tell me what to do.
Remove us from this body. From this case. Free us. Please.
Since you asked so nicely, before I do anything to go ahead and do anything with that skull that you're currently trapped in, let's go ahead and just expect the exposed brain. This does give us another investigation skill check, which means that we got a DC class of 10. No bonuses or anything, so we gotta get 10 or higher on this skill die. Should be fairly easy, but RNG might not be on our side now. And thankfully, they are on our side. Just barely. That does succeed.
You notice edema, a swelling of the brain causing pressure where it strains against the shell of the skull.
So with that, we can either break the skull, gently pry the brain from the skull, or we can use a medicine check with advantage to go and attempt a cerebral extraction, staying mindful of the swelling, which will be quite beneficial for us. We do get a +2 bonus from our medicine proficiency as well. So this is going to be a advantage-based die, so whichever one of these dice roll the higher number, that one is the one that will be accepted. 13 is accepted. We get a +2 from our medicine proficiency of being haunted. And we now get a succeed right there. Perfect.
The brain lifts from the skull, but you notice an opportunity. You could cripple the strange creature, making it more subservient should it prove a threat. Your fingers twitch with the desire to rip its tender, moist meat to shreds.
Here's a little bit of an interesting fact. If we wanted to spare the creature, we can go ahead and leave it as is. But we could try to make it subservient. This does give us an advantage, and we do get a +1 with our dexterity check. It is, however, a really high difficulty class of 15. Split Splatter, which makes you more likely to succeed with advantage, so that is perfectly fine by us. 14, +1 from dexterity, and that's barely succeeds.
The creature seems unaware of your interference. It relaxes in your hands.
Ah, interesting. We'll let it go for the time being. What are you going to do?
We are free. Our freedom is ours, friend.
The creature pauses, listening. Something behind your eyes seizes in recognition.
We must go to the helm. At the helm, we are needed.
Really? What's at the helm?
The brain tenses, as though querying an unseen advisor.
Do you not hear it? We will not survive here. We are needed to navigate. We are needed to leave this realm.
Interesting. What should I call you, though?
Us. We are us.
Interesting. So, intellect devour that just refers to itself by us. We can either go ahead and say, I helped you once, but that's all I can do. I'll go, but not with you. We can attack the brain, or we can say, alright, let's go. This means that the intellect devour will accompany us, so to speak.
To the helm we go. We are going to the helm.
So, the intellect devour will start to follow us. It won't attack us, it will actually aid us in battle as well. Now, if we go ahead and move along here, and head out this way,
This is your end.
Your head throbs and your skin tingles. Visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the strange woman's eyes.
Oh, my head. What is this? Skvar, you are no thrall. Blackith blesses me this day. Together, we might survive.
Together? But just a moment ago you thought that I was a thrall. What made you think that I was one?
We carry mind flayer parasites. Unless we escape, unless we are cleansed, our bodies and minds will be tainted and twisted. Within days, we will be Geich, mind flayers.
That is quite disturbing. I wouldn't want to be turned into one, but more pressing question is, who are you?
Who am I? Your only chance of survival.
Well, that doesn't help me much there. But I suppose we just need to figure out where we are.
We can do nothing until we escape. That must be our priority. First, we exterminate the imps. Then we find the helm and take control of the ship. As for that thing, it will remain tame as long as it believes we are thralls. It may be of use in the fight to come.
At least Lae'zel agrees to having the intellect devourer following us. Now, here's our first encounter. Oh, us, you are the one that gets to go first. Now, surprisingly enough, us actually has the most amount of HP between all three of us, which is quite surprising. First off, us, I want you to come over here, and you're going to use your claw attack to go ahead and take out... to go ahead and attack the imp over here. Deal 6 damage to that imp, which is fine. I'm not having you worried about your movement, and you don't really have a bonus action that you can utilize, so go and end your turn right there. Lae'zel, move over there to go and attack that imp.
Or you break.
And that's a critical hit from Lae'zel onto that imp. That is nicely done, Lae'zel. Unfortunately, though, you do not have enough movement to get you over to there. But we will have you move enough just to go and get closer to that imp. Now, us can handle that imp right there. That's not a problem. We, on the other hand, are going to want to go after this other imp. We're going to go ahead and want to do Inquisitor's Might first. You and your allies' weapon attacks deal an additional 2 radiant damage and can daze enemies for 1 turn. That's great. If we go ahead and use our acid breath, that's not close enough. We can't use our concussion or our striking, so I think that should be fine. Yeah, that should be fine right there. So we'll go ahead and leave Dark Urge as is, because he can't do anything else. The imp is going to attack us for 1 damage, and that imp is going after... okay, the Dark Urge apparently... Okay, that was quite easy enough. Thankfully, this imp is just going to die regardless of what we do, and we're going to have you move along here, going after that imp. And that's end of our turn.
I am fury. I am death.
Lae'zel, go ahead and move forward to attack that imp.
I will not know failure.
And that's the end of the turn. Pretty easy, right? That was actually quite easy with us helping us out as well. Go ahead and loot these bodies just to see what they have on them. Crossbows. You have some gold on you, which is fine. This imp over here has another axe. And this thrall over here, what do you have? Some more gold. Okay. Go into the restoration chamber over here. Go and heal all us. Or get us back. Go into this, take a look at this imp. That's it. And we got 2 more thralls that we can go ahead and take a look at. Take a look at this other thrall. And 3 more gold. And I believe we're just going to come back up here. And as we make our way up here, well, let's wait for everyone else to come on up, because this is where we're going to end off the first episode, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you did enjoy it. Definitely a little bit of a longer one to start off this series, but I hope you guys did enjoy it regardless. We got us that is helping us out here because they are a newborn intellect devourer. We got Lae'zel that is fighting with us as well. So we really have a great setup right here playing the Dark Urge. And we're going to go and continue that setup in the next episode. So if you guys want to see another episode of Baldur's Gate 3, then please do go ahead and hit that like button down below and leave a comment about what you want to see next in this Dark Urge playthrough. Anyway, I will see you guys then, and also I gotta say, Dark Urge is quite the tall guy. Either way, see you guys in the next episode. Ciao for now.